Okay, so the first thing to say is that the AI that you're interacting with now is the worst AI you will ever see. It's getting better rapidly all the time. So if you interacted with ChatGPT 3.5, it couldn't do simple arithmetic, or it sometimes stumbled on simple arithmetic. It made quite a few confabulations. 5.4 is now much better. It can do simple arithmetic fairly reliably. It can tell you how many letter R's there are in the word strawberry. And it can do some quite sophisticated reasoning. So early versions, for example, couldn't answer the question, which I'm not going to ask you to answer, because I once did this on stage, and the host couldn't answer the question, which is very embarrassing. So I'm not going to answer. I'm sure you will know the answer to this, but don't say anything. Early ones got the following wrong. Sally has 3 brothers. Each of her brothers has 2 sisters. How many sisters does Sally have? And the guy on stage in Las Vegas asked me for an example of what chatbots couldn't do, and I gave this, and then put him in the headlights, and he said 6. The right answer is 1, because all 3 brothers have the same 2 sisters, and one of them Sally. So early chatbots couldn't do that. Now they can do that. Now they won't get that wrong. So they're getting better all the time, and if you're underwhelmed by the current chatbots, just wait till next year.
A good example that I heard recently is my car wash is only about half a mile from me. Should I walk there or drive? Right? And some chatbots today get that right, and some get that wrong. So
also, those chatbots, when they do that, the next question was, okay, so I walked there, but I need the car. And so I think the chatbot said, you should bring it with you.
Bring the car with me when I walk there. So do these kind of confabulations make it difficult to talk about these bigger existential risks?
Yeah, they make you think it's not a problem. But the other point about this intelligence is it's jagged, in the sense that it's very good at some things and not so good at other things. And its abilities at different things isn't the same as a human's. It can be much better than you at some things and a bit worse than you at other things. But it's coming up all the time. So when you find it doing something dumb, that doesn't mean it can't think at all, or that it's a really dumb thing. It just means it's dumb at that. But it can still be very smart at lots of other things.
The training in these language models is language training, right? It's fundamental to the way that we've defined these things. Trained on particularly text language. And we know that that's only sort of a subset of our own thinking. We think and then we speak, and you mentioned how language...
Not if you're Donald Trump. It's very easy to get Trump laughs in Canada.
It's an effective strategy, I agree. You mentioned how language is an imperfect conduit for information. These things that are trained on language, does that limit their ability to do thinking? Like, are they restricted to thinking in language the way we might not be?
Okay, so there's 2 issues here. There's a philosophical problem and a practical problem. The philosophical problem is like this. If you locked a child in a room with a radio, and that was his only experience of the world, just the sound waves on the radio, could it understand the world? And most philosophers would have told you no, but that's what these large language models are doing, essentially. And the answer is yes, but it's not a very efficient way to understand the world. In particular, it's not a very efficient way to understand space. So large language models can actually, once trained only on language, can actually deal with ambiguities like the trophy would not fit in the suitcase because it was too big, where they understand that it is the trophy, and the trophy would not fit in the suitcase because it was too small, where they understand that it is the suitcase. So they're understanding stuff about space, that big things won't fit inside small things, purely from language. But that's difficult. It's much easier to understand that if you can do vision too, and it's even easier if you can manipulate things. So multimodal chatbots are going to find it much easier to understand stuff. But the philosophical problem is it possible to understand things like space just from language? I think the answer is yes, but it's very tedious and needs huge amounts of data. You're much better off if you can see things and interact with things.
And tedious and huge amounts of data is exactly what they're good at. They have huge amounts of data and they can spend all the time they want to think.
Yeah.
The language that we see that is their sort of chain of thought, their reasoning, right? When we watch it make a decision, I should do this, but I should not do that. That's also language. Is there thought underneath that, or is that sort of a representation or a simulation of thinking? What does that reasoning mean that we're watching it do?
Okay, I think that is thinking. I think that little voice you have in your head when you're thinking, you know, oh, I forgot to do that, and I've got to do this, and oh God, that voice, that is thinking. We think with words. And the point about words is they're a universal model linkage. They're like Lego, but you can model anything that way. You can model, you know, the layout of this room. You can model what you suspect somebody else feels about you. You can model what you think about a Republican congressman. That uses rude words. But you can model anything with them. But that doesn't mean that your only way of modeling things. So you also have images and something somewhat more abstract than images, thoughts about space that aren't in words. You actually have other ways of representing things. Like when I'm in my workshop and I'm thinking about one thing and I'm looking for a hammer, I sort of walk around the workshop going like this. And this is my representation that I'm looking for a hammer while I'm thinking about something else. So we have many other ways of representing things other than words. Words are kind of universal, but if you have those other things as well, you're going to be smarter.